Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Suffield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, if you're new to the show, welcome. Hopefully I didn't scare you off too bad. But what we do on this show is we'll take a movie that's coming out on Friday, and we'll take a look at an actor, actress, director, genre, what have you, and we'll make a top 5 list according to that subject of the week. And the cool thing about the show is that it's live, so we have no idea what the hell's going to come out of our mouths, and we don't know each other's list. But you know what's really cool about this episode? This is the 1-year anniversary, because if people have been keeping up with this show, last year I created the top 5 Pixar films by myself. So it's been exactly a year. We've done 53 episodes, and you're probably thinking, Chase, you dumb fuck. There's 52 weeks in a year. I know, but we did a double header on the Nice Guys weekend, if you guys remember. So we've done 53 episodes, but this marks the 1-year anniversary and stuff. So yeah, and before we begin, if you want an audio-only version of the podcast and you don't want to see me and Brian's face, link will be in the description below. And if you're listening to the audio-only version and you want a video version, you want to see us flow around like fucking Muppets, then you can do that, link in the description below. So first, Brian, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Oh, you know, it's hot as hell in Texas, and I literally was in the car for 10 minutes. I came back, and my back sweated. So that's good stuff. So if you guys live in a cold part of the nation right now, make some room in your house. All right, so yeah, you know, I'm doing pretty good. It's a pretty good weekend for movies. We have Finding Dory. We have a movie starring a giant rock and a little heart. So, you know, there's a lot of things to pick from this weekend. So, but first, before we get into this week's episode, Brian, would you like to let everyone know how you got onto the show? Because if people recall, this is actually true. The very first episode I did by myself late Saturday night while I was drinking and probably, you know, crying in the corner of my room or something. And it was very shitty quality. It was before I had my camera went out, and I didn't have any lights up. It was really crappy looking. So, Brian, how did you get on the show after the first episode? Because Brian started on episode 2.
Well, the thing is, you texted me that day asking me if I could come on, and the thing is, I wasn't available that day. So I'm like, let's see. Then I saw the episode, and I'm like, oh God, I want to be a part of this. So I texted you saying, hey, could I be a part of this? And you're like, well, fine, I guess. So, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, Brian just makes it seem like I just said, fuck it, whatever. And actually, that was the case. I was like, you know, because if I do this thing by myself, I don't mind doing my podcast by myself. But when you're doing like a top 5 show and you're like having lists and stuff, I would rather have like someone to kind of combat with. That way, if Brian puts wrong answers on his list, I can yell at him. Like, that's what he's here for. So, yeah. So, Brian, thank you for being on for, you know, the 52+ episodes done. It'll be very interesting before Brian starts college in a few months. He says that he wants to continue doing this show, but I'm telling him college is different. He's going to be busy, and he's going to be like, fuck that Chase, man. I'm going to go smoke some weed and drink a beer behind, you know, the dorm rooms or something. I'd be like, oh, that's my Brian growing up. And now I'm going to be almost 30, you know, crying every night. So, yeah, so, you know, we'll just continue the show until Brian just gives up and tells me to fuck off and he wants to go enjoy his college life. But until then, we'll just keep the show going. But yeah, for all you guys that have been listening out there, I know this is a long intro, but thank you for listening for all these episodes. It's been a hell of a ride for the 1-year anniversary. And Brian, what are we doing this week, and why are we doing it again?
Well, because it's the 1-year anniversary, we're going to honor Pixar again to see. Well, the thing is, since I wasn't on the last one, Chase doesn't know my top 5 Pixar films. I don't even remember what he put as his top 5. I think I remember his number 1, but I don't know. Well, that'll probably still be his number 1. But I thought it would be cool to honor it because the thing is, I felt like it would have been necessary to honor Finding Dory instead of Central Intelligence because, you know, Pixar's a big deal, and we had 2 Pixar movies come out. Well, now 3 in between the last episode. So, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, why not update it and just kind of just say thank you to everyone and have Brian reveal his list? And did my list change? Because I actually saw a movie before the actual show. I prepared. So I saw Finding Dory, so I don't know if it's going to be on my list or not, but I guess we'll find out, won't we? So, yeah. So without further ado, guys, Top 5 Saturdays Live. We actually recording on a Saturday for once. Let's get this started. So, moving on to number 5. And Brian, I have to ask you, every single week. Before I do, I have a board right here, so I'll keep track and I'll show you guys at the end. But Brian, what is your number 5 favorite Pixar film of all time?
I told this to Chase before we began the episode. This was a very hard list for me personally because this is like my childhood. Pixar was founded 3 years before I was born. So, I mean, like, I grew up with this stuff. My number 5 is Up.
Okay.
Now, the reason why this is on the list for me is because it still sticks with me to this day. 7 years in the making. It still sticks with me. Listen, everyone talks about the opening sequence. Yes, the opening sequence, it's fucking heartbreaking. I mean, there's no dialogue. You just hear Michael Giacchino's incredible score, and it's like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like, why, Pixar? Just why? It started off so happy, and then it's sad, and then we have the rest of the movie, which is fantastic in my opinion. A lot of people complain about the pacing of this movie. A lot of people complain about the dynamic between the two leads, which really annoys me because I'm like, these two were unlikely to pair up, and it's great. Then yes, the talking dog, yes, that's fucked up, but is it supposed to be accurate? No. Is it meant to be like serious stuff? No. It works because it's an anime film. It's not like it's Spy Kids 4D where it doesn't make any fucking sense. So Up for me is a compelling, interesting, engaging drama with a good amount of comedy, very good amount of heart. It won the anime feature. It was the second film to be nominated for Best Picture because before that, Beauty and the Beast was nominated. Then 18 years later, this got nominated. And then another movie got nominated the year after that. I'm not going to say what, but you guys probably know what it is. So, yeah, Up is my number 5. I love it very much. Pete Docter directed this. We'll bring him up later. Up is my number 5.
Okay. I'm going to pass on this one, but I agree with you. It's a pretty good one. So when I say I pass on it, guys, that means it's on my list somewhere. So where's that? I don't know. So my number 5, I'm going to go with the very first one that I remember seeing in theaters. Now, I saw Toy Story, A Bug's Life, and Toy Story 2 in theaters, according to my parents, because, they know everything. But this is the one I remember actually going into the theater, sitting down, and just kind of being, like, in awe and just really enjoying myself from start to finish. It was a fun, enjoyable ride. It's got a nice, like, little twist in it and stuff. And I always thought it had enough mythology and stuff to actually create a sequel, which it did, but it was a prequel. But my number 5, I'm going to go with Monsters, Inc. Now, I really love this movie quite a bit. It came out when I was 11. So, if you guys want to search my 11-year-old photos, I'm sure they're on the internet somewhere. But, I was just this plump little kid and going to see a movie during the summer. And I was just kind of surprised by it. I really loved the chemistry between Mike and Sully, Billy Crystal, and John Goodman, man. Who would have thought that would be a great pairing? And I love the way all the colors pop from the monsters and stuff, and like how their world was actually colorful than like our world, which is pretty ironic considering they're monsters and shit. But as far as the story goes, they have to go in there and they have to scare kids to get energy for their city or whatever. It's just a really interesting and neat premise and stuff. And I remember just enjoying myself from start to finish. It was just so entertaining, so funny. And then, fucking, what's her name, Brian? Roz?
Yes. Wazowski? You mean Wazowski?
Mike Wazowski. That fucking old slug. I remember when she came on screen and like Mike Wazowski. Oh, it was great. And a little side note, I think that isn't that the director or something like that? Didn't he do that voice?
It's probably.
It's a dude. So, the fact that guy has a really nice old lady voice is astounding. And it's also got one of the slimiest villains, Randall, played by Steve Buscemi, which is really funny because I like Steve Buscemi a lot, but he's not like the best looking dude in the world. He kind of looks like Randall, so I think they like modeled.
That's fucked up. That's
I know it's fucked up. That was fucked. Steve, if you're watching, I love you, buddy. But if like, I think they like looked at Steve like, we're gonna model your face into a monster. But no, he does a really good job and stuff, and it's got a really like awesome, heartfelt ending that you didn't really expect. It's like this really like kind of interesting like thriller all the way up until the very end, and it's like kind of like really sweet and stuff because Sully gets invested with Boo and stuff, and like Boo is just a really adorable human character and stuff. And yeah, I just love Monsters Inc. and it holds a special place in my heart because it's one of the very first Pixar movies I saw in theaters. So Monsters Inc. is my number 5. Brian, let's go with you to number 4. What is it?
My number 4 is Ratatouille.
Oh shit, going with some rats cooking some food.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. This movie could have gone really wrong because it's just a rat cooking. It really could have been someone so stupid.
It's a pretty good movie. It's just a rat cooking, it's just a fucking rat.
Exactly. It's just a rat cooking movie. That's really all it is. But it's fantastic. It's Brad Bird, and when I found out Brad Bird made this, I'm like, it's so weird that the guy who made Ghost Protocol, who made a movie with Tom Cruise coming to Dubai Tower, made a movie about a rat cooking. Like that's
yeah.
I don't get it, but I love Ratatouille. It's hilarious. It's engaging. Patton Oswalt is fantastic as Remy. Linguini, silly ass character. The villain, I forgot his name, but he is hysterical.
The critic.
Yeah. The short guy in the kitchen, he was hilarious. And then that one employee in the kitchen who was like, I killed the man with this thumb. Like that guy. I forgot his name, but he is hilarious. I enjoyed the story. I love the characters. I love the animation. It also won anime feature. Wait a minute. I'm trying to think. Yeah, pretty much, spoiler alert, pretty much every single one that's on here won anime feature. Spoiler. But, yeah, Ratatouille. Incredible, engaging, hilarious. I remember when I was younger, there was a song that would play during the montage sequence, like a French song. I didn't know what the fuck they were saying, but like I would play it all the time because it just made me crack up. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of an inside joke with me and my friends. We were watching Ratatouille the other day, and first of all, I don't know why we were watching it to begin with, but my friend's like, "Hey, do you want to watch Ratatouille?" And I'm like, all right, why not? And I mean, I love it, but like, I was like, okay. And then I couldn't stop laughing during the French song. It was hilarious. I don't want to be offensive, but inside joke, people.
We just have so many people from France listening to this podcast, and if you do, we love you. Just comment down below and tell us where you're from.
Yeah, Ratatouille, it's incredible. I love it. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, listen, Ratatouille's on my list, and it's like you said, this fucking list is hard because, besides a couple of them, every single Pixar movie knocks it out of the park. And so Ratatouille is one of those ones where I really enjoy it quite a bit. Patton Oswalt like nails the voice of Remy. Like when I think of Remy and I hear him, I don't even think of Patton Oswalt. I think of that fucking rat. And the thing is with anytime you do a movie with like food or like a television show with food, you got to make the food look sexy. That's just the way it goes. When you do the cinematography in these type of films or shows with food, it's got to look sexy. It's got to look appealing. You want to dive into it. When you look at movies like Chef or like even Burnt and reality shows with like Gordon Ramsay and stuff, which I'm a huge fan of for all you people out there that want to know a little bit more about me, I love reality shows, especially like MasterChef and stuff. But Ratatouille is animated. So how do you make food look good? It still looked good. Even when like at the very end when they're creating the Ratatouille dish, it looks delicious. And I'm not even that big of a fan of like vegetables and like it's just a pure vegetable dish, but it looked really good. It looked appealing. It looked fun to work inside of a kitchen. I've been inside many, many kitchens during jobs and stuff, and they suck ass. But this movie, it brings a lightness to it, a funness to it and stuff. And it's just about a rat chasing his dreams. This fucking rat wants to cook. Let him fucking cook. Don't worry about any health hazards. Just let Remy have his dream. That's all he wants. He's just a fucking rat that wants to cook. Follow your dreams, ladies and gentlemen. That's the tip for you. But if you are a rat out there, they'll probably fucking kill you. I'm just going to be honest with you. But in that world, it works. And the animation is beautiful. The food is beautiful. It's just a very nice, pleasant movie. So I agree with you. My number 4, I'm going to go on the flip side and do another Brad Bird movie. I'm going to do The Incredibles. Because if you guys look at that shit behind me, I love me some superhero stuff. The Incredibles came out in 2004. And this was 2 years after X-Men 2. And it was, I think, the same year as Spider-Man 2. But either way, it was kind of like in the beginning stages of like the superhero boom. Because now there's a lot of superhero movies coming out from many different studios, but back then we only had from Fox and Sony, because at this point Marvel wasn't even a thing yet. You did have the Ang Lee Hulk, but no one really counts that. But The Incredibles came out, and it was very refreshing. It felt very new. It was just this family that just fights crime and just kind of like uses their superpowers, and they don't know where they fit in the world. And you have, you know, Dash as a little kid figure out his powers. Then you have Violet, who's a teenager, and you know how fucking teenagers are. I was a teenager once. We were very moody and stuff. So like, you know, she's trying to figure out where she's at in the world, and you know, one of her superpowers is invisibility. So you know, she kind of shields away from like the world, but you know, at the end she kind of embraces it and stuff. And there's just something really kind of touching about that, where it's just about family. You know, it's about all these people coming together, fighting crime, and just being a family. And the powers are really cool. The villain, played by Jason Lee, is just a psychotic maniac, and it's just a really kind of fresh superhero movie, especially when we're saturated in the market with all these types of films and stuff. And I still cannot believe, to this day, we are getting it, folks. We are getting a sequel. But why on God's green earth have we not had a sequel sooner? This thing was a monster hit back in the day. Why in the holy fuck have we not seen anything like at least 2 years after? Like, instead of, I don't know, Cars the following year, why didn't we have The Incredibles 2? Just fat. I know they couldn't do that, but maybe because then Ratatouille was the next year, Wall-E was the next year. What was in 2009? I don't think anything was. Yeah, Up was in 2009. Toy Story 3 was in 2010. 2011 was Cars 2. There you go. Scrap that from the slate and put that shit on there. But we're going to get in 2019. But The Incredibles is a lot of fun. It's got a strong message of family and stuff. I love it. And, of course, listen, when you mix Pixar and one of my favorite like genres together, you mash them up, you're going to get some gold from me. So number 4 is The Incredibles. So, Brian, would you like to comment or move on?
I will pass.
Oh, shit, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so it's in his top 3. This is going to be interesting. All right, so let's move on to number 3. Now, as Brian knows, if you guys have been listening to this show or watching it, I'm an expert. I nail Brian's list every single week, and he's always, you know, very pissed off because I'm just a fucking wizard. I know his answers, and he gets really angry. So Brian's got 3 slots left. Now, if Brian is, you know, smart, he'll have one of the Toy Stories on there. That takes up a spot. He's got 2 spots left. He said The Incredibles is on there. I don't think he would put it that high up. So I'm going to say, Brian, your number 3 is The Incredibles.
My number 3 is indeed The Incredibles.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Wizardy tricks right there with my mind and shit. I don't know what I'm talking about. Brian, take it away.
Yeah, I just want to disclose the fact that the sequel's coming out in 2019. I'll be fucking 21. 21.
No. Do not fucking.
All right, here we go.
Asshole.
I'll get imitate Chase.
You shut up.
29, motherfucker.
I will be 31. I will be 31 when that comes out. I don't want to.
2019.
Oh wait, sorry. I think it's 21. I'll be
I'll be 21.
I'll be 29. I'll be close to 30. I'll be close to death at that point. Like that's how long of a. The first Incredibles came out when I was a freshman in high school. That's how long ago it was. Anyway.
And I was a little infant curly hair fuck at age 6.
Ridiculous. You have your whole life ahead of you, Brian. I'm just withering away. I'm just old. I'm gonna go die in a retirement home next week.
Okay. If you say so. The Incredibles, you pretty much said everything I was gonna say too. As a superhero film fan, this is an incredibly fantastic superhero film. All the actors are great. You brought up Jason Lee. I don't like Jason Lee personally. I don't think he's that good when it comes to his films. He's amazing as Syndrome, and you never really pictured him as the villain type of guy, and he nailed it in every way, shape, or form. You forgot to mention Samuel L. Jackson, Frozone, the super suit.
Yep.
Super suit. Like, I mean, what more can you get? And then you have Craig T. Nelson, who, I mean, I love the show Parenthood, so I mean that's automatically a sell for me. And I've said this before. I don't think I've ever said this to you, but I'll say this, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I hate Holly Hunter, like, a lot. I know a lot of people love the crap out of Holly Hunter.
Okay.
I hate Holly Hunter, but I love her as Elastigirl. What'd she do?
What fucking movie did that?
It's not, it's her, it's a dumb, her voice irritates me.
Her voice.
Strong lift. Her lift. I'm sorry. Like, she annoyed me at Batman v Superman. I'm sorry. She annoyed me. Not the character. It was the performance that annoyed me. She annoyed me. I'm sorry.
I guess.
I know she's an Oscar winner. I understand that, but she doesn't really get to me. I don't know why. It's like the whole Winona Ryder hype. I don't get why people love her so much. I don't hate Winona Ryder. It's just I don't love her like everyone else does. But anyway, back to The Incredibles. All the voice actors are great. The two kids are fantastic. Jack is a scene stealer. And then you forgot to mention one more. You brought up that director voiced the character in the film. Brad Bird does a voice in this film. Yep. He voices fucking Edna Mole.
Yep, he voices the little scrawny woman that gets all of their suits and weapons and stuff.
Yeah. No, like Elastigirl is like crying, and he's like, "This, you are Elastigirl. Put yourself together." Like,
yep.
I'm like, what? When I found out that was Brad Bird, I'm like, what?
Brad Bird's got a talent.
God damn you. But The Incredibles, compelling, funny, and yes, I'm excited that we're finally getting the sequel, but yes, it should have came out at least 5 years after the first one. Maybe not exactly after, but at least 5 years. Like, I mean, come on, guys. Guys, come on. Move this to like 2017. Make this come out next year. Move Cars 3 to hell, and then just do this as your film that's coming out next year instead of Cars fucking 3. The Incredibles is my number 3. Fantastic film. One of my favorites of 2004. Glad it won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. That was a pretty... Well, I mean, it had no competition. Shrek 2 was nominated, which I love personally. And Shark Tale, why the fuck was that nominated?
Because they ran out of nominations.
You could have nominated the fucking SpongeBob movie. The end. Incredibles, my number 3.
You know what's really funny? I was thinking about this. Like, when you think about the gap between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, it was 11 years. The Incredibles 2 will come out 15 years after the original. Like, I just want to put that in perspective. So if you thought Toy Story 2 to 3 was long, nope. All right, so yeah, it's a pretty good pick. My number 3, I think was the first Toy Story film I actually cried in theaters. And, you know, I sat there and, you know, I was, what was I, 19 at the time? You know, I sat there. And I was like, what? I'm just going to let the tears flow, baby. I'm just going to let them flow down my face. I don't give a fuck who's watching. It's Up. I'm going to go with Up as my number 3. Now, a lot of people will talk about the first 10 minutes, and then they will not defend the rest of the movie because they don't remember it. I will defend the rest of the movie saying that the rest of the movie is still good beyond the first 10 minutes. Because let's face it, that first 10 minutes is the best, I would consider the best opening that Pixar has ever done. I mean, we see the life of Mr. Fredricksen, Carl. Yeah, that's his name. Carl is a young little boy just growing up and then meeting the love of his life. And they kind of grow up and you hear the sad fucking song in the beginning, man. Pixar just jams their fist into your chest, grabs your heart, pumps it in front of you, and just like you die right there. Like, that's how emotional it gets. And like that song's so slow. And then I'm not going to say what happens at the end, but you know, that first 10 minutes, you just see the whole life of these two people that just love each other. And there's something really kind of just really sweet about that. And then we see this, you know, Carl as a grumpy old man. Then he goes on an adventure, regardless if you think if it's believable or not. But, you know, puts a bunch of balloons on his house and he flies to the destination that him and his wife wanted to go to. And there's just something really remarkable about that. And the journey that him and Russell go on, this kid, is very kind of playful and very like Goonies-like, to a point where like Carl is like reliving like his youth again. It's getting him like out of his chair and he feels alive again. And that was the whole point of this, was to have this man who has lost everything to just go on this adventure and just feel like a person again, regardless if you think the adventure is dumb. Because let's face it, there's some dogs that are flying in fighter jets shooting. That doesn't bother me because it plays to the whole like fantasy element of it, and it kind of plays along with what you would imagine as a kid. Like if you have fantasies as a kid, that would be like what you would project on to a paper or something if you were drawing. And that's what I kind of like took away from it, was these were like childhood like type of adventures coming to life for this old man who has lost everything and just kind of being alive once again. And I thought the humor was great. It was spot on. Of course, Doug with his fucking collar, you know, squirrel, you know, everyone was talking about that fucking scene. And then of course, you know, you have the main dog who's got the high pitched like girl voice, which is it kills me every single time that pops on screen. The villain is so, I will admit that, but the story between Carl and Russell is so intimate, and you just feel like this guy has lost everything. He has pursued this journey, and he's done one final adventure in his life, and there's something really just kind of just fucking charming about that. So I love Up from start to finish, not just the first 10 minutes. So that's why it's my number 3. So yeah, we're getting to our top 2, guys. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be interesting. So okay, so the rule is you can only do one Toy Story. Brian, your face looks like it's shocked for some reason.
No.
Oh, okay. So anyways, we're going to do one Toy Story. That was the rule. It's kind of hard to pick. So the fact that we're getting into our top 2s, I don't know how much Brian likes Finding Nemo. But then again, I don't know how much he likes the Toy Story movies or even Inside Out. I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say Brian's number 2 is Finding Nemo.
You are incorrect, sir.
You know what? That was just one time I was wrong out of 53 episodes. I think I'll take a hit.
Okay, if you say so.
What's your number 2, Brian?
My number 2 is most likely your number 2,
Okay.
Inside Out.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first time in a while where we have something in common. So, yeah, our number 2s are the same, which means we're just going to kind of talk about it openly now. So, Brian, take it away.
Okay, this was my number 1 of 2015 for a long, long time. When I saw this like at an advanced screen, great screen. We got a tour of Pixar at first, and then we saw the movie. The movie was amazing. Like, I knew that it would be Pixar's comeback. From the trailers, it looked like it was going to be Pixar's return to form, because the films that came out before that were Cars 2 and Monsters University. I like Monsters University quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it was not a great film, and Cars 2 fucking sucks. Toy Story 3 was the last great film that came out from Pixar before Inside Out, and Inside Out surpassed my expectations. I did not think I would love this movie as much as I did. I adored it from beginning to end. What I cried like 12 times during the movie. I'm not gonna like hide that. I don't, people tell me that I may cry a lot during movies. If you don't have a heart, and I mean,
I guess apparently a bunch of robots are yelling at you, so they have no souls, they have no emotions.
Yeah, exactly. And people claim that because I'm a ginger, I have no soul. Yeah,
I didn't say that.
No, not you. I'm talking about everyone else in the world. But Inside Out, I mean, you have such a great story that's so unexpected. You go into the mind of this little girl and see her emotions, and it's like so realistic. It's relatable to everybody, kids, teens, adults. I saw this with my mom. She related to it. I related to it. I mean, when the movie came out last year, I was 17. This girl, Riley, she's 11 years old. I can tell you right now that I was like this when I was 11. I was moody. I never moved, so I can't relate to that aspect. The fact that she moved all the way to San Francisco, I mean, it really got to her. She went through some depression, which was so dark for Pixar and so realistic. I mean, I'm not going to spoil the movie because there are people out there who probably haven't seen it. If you haven't, what the fuck is wrong with you? But if you've seen it, you know where I'm going with this. Toward the last 20 minutes of this movie are really fucking intense. Like, you don't know what's going to happen to anyone, to Riley, or any of the emotions. Like, it's really, really, really heartbreaking stuff. The voice acting from everybody is terrific. You got all the 5 of these actors playing perfect incarnations of basically themselves. Amy Poehler's Greatest Joy, Phyllis Smith, Sadness, Louis Black, the standout as Anger, Mindy Kaling as Disgust, and then Bill Hader as Fear. You couldn't have picked 5 brilliant actors for this, and they pulled it off. Like, they nailed the casting for this film. The writing, the direction, the pacing. I was not bored during this movie. I mean, and then someone dies in the movie.
You stop it, or I'm going to cry on camera. Because I recently watched Inside Out today, and I cried like a little girl. And that part came up.
And then that happened, and I died.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, my whole fear was silent. I could not even begin to tell you the shock in my face. I was like, Pixar. Fuck. Inside Out was the best anime film of last year. It was my second favorite film of last year. It kept going back and forth with my number one, which happened to be The Martian. And either one of those films could have been my number one, but I chose The Martian because I had a stronger love for that film personally, because I'm more into like the space, sci-fi stuff, and also because it's Matt Damon, and Matt Damon's like the greatest human being on the planet. So yeah, Inside Out is my number two. Chase, go ahead, please.
Okay, so since Brian didn't mention it, I'll mention it. Bing Bong. Fucking Bing Bong, motherfuckers. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, Inside Out was my second favorite movie of last year as well. When I walked out of there, I don't think I've ever seen an anime movie in my life. Now, I'm being totally serious, where I thought it hit all the quadrants, just like Brian said. Elderly people, adults, teenagers, kids. Like, this movie was there for everyone. And this is the type of movie that you can show your kid, and they can be, like, kind of amused by the colors and stuff and kind of get the gist of what's going on. But when they get older as an adult, like I was when I watched it, because I was 25 when I watched it, they'll start to understand it a little bit more, and it'll start to hit them even harder as they get older, and then they can show their kids, and it's just like a fucking cycle, and it's brilliant. I was sitting next to a family. I was the only one that was single in there, in my 20s, by myself, no couple or anything, so I looked really weird to begin with. But like, there was a bunch of families around me, and there was a kid that sat next to me. I was crying when fucking Bing Bong came up, and this kid, was just enjoying himself. Like, kid, you're gonna understand this in the future. So yeah, all the emotions were there, and I thought it was really smart on Pixar's part to take this simple idea of a child moving and turn into like an emotionally investive adventure that is even grander than its idea. Like, what the hell? Like, if you look at the bare bones, it's just a kid moving. But it's showing, like, what people go through when they move and how they become sad, happy, disgust, fearful, anger, whatever. It's just brilliant on how they look at all the emotions and how they work with personalities that are developed and stuff. And it's just, I think someone actually said that, like, this is a great movie, like, to show kids, as like to show them like how the mind works, emotions, like psychology and stuff. And I thought that's really cool that this movie can show kids how all this stuff works and stuff in a very kind of colorful, rich environment, which is like I said, a plus because it hits all those quadrants. So not only is the story very investive, and of course I fucking cried, it's also very funny. I rewatched it today, and I didn't think it was as funny in theaters, but rewatching it, I was like, dude, this movie's funnier than I remember. And just like Brian said, the voice casting is out of this world. I always said that Wreck-It Ralph had the most perfect voice casting for a Disney movie, because I love John C. Reilly as Wreck-It Ralph and Jack Brer as Fixie Felix and stuff. Everyone just works in the movie. But this movie, like, every single person that voices the emotion is that fucking emotion. And when you think of Amy Poehler, when you look at her, you think of a happy place. And I'm sorry, Phyllis Smith, but when you look at her in The Office, you think of someone that's sad. But that's just the way she talks, and that's the way she delivers her humor. When you look at Bill Hader, he looks like he could be scared at the drop of a hat. When you look at Mindy Kaling, it looks like she's like the fucking girl in high school that just like hated touching everything. Like, I just hate everything. And of course, Louis Black. Every time when he does stand up on stage, he looks like he's about to yell at someone. But my favorite line in the movie, "Congratulations, San Francisco, you ruined pizza." And every time when Louis Black talks, he fucking wails his arms around like he's very animated. So I'm imagining when he's in the recording studio, it's just, "Congratulations, San Francisco." Like, it's brilliant. And so when you mix all that, and of course, my boy Kyle MacLachlan from like a lot of David Lynch movies plays the dad, so it's a little bonus. But as far as like all that goes, it just comes together. It teaches kids about emotions while playing into the emotions of the adults, so they can recall their childhood and stuff. Because, man, when Joy is like picking up like memory balls, and it's like, this is Riley when she first skated. This is Riley when she like played with her parents and stuff. You're sitting there in your 20s going, wow, Like, I remember some of that stuff. Like, that's just, it's incredible to, like, show kids this movie because it's smart. It's very smart in the way it's delivered in its story, its humor, its emotions. It's a bare-bones story about a person moving with a lot more beneath the surface. It is a genius movie. I implore anyone to check out Inside Out. It is definitely one of my favorite Pixar movies, but not my favorite. I've been toying with this back and forth with my 1 and 2. So speaking of that, number 1, I can tell you guys this right now. Me and Brian have a Toy Story movie as our number 1. Well, which one? Which one do we click with the most? Now, Toy Story, the first one, came out when I was 5 years old. It came out 3 years before Brian was even conceived. So Brian was kind of late into the Pixar game and the way he kind of grew up with it. I kind of grew up in a sweet spot with it, so it's going to be very interesting to see which ones we pick. But with that being said, Brian, which Toy Story movie did you go with? Unless you want to put Cars 2 as your number 1 and piss off the internet, it's up to you.
Okay, Cars 2 is my number 1. I'm just fucking with everybody. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This was really hard for me as well because I love all 3 of these films equally. Originally, I was gonna go with a certain film, but then I realized which is the one I love more. I kind of hate to do this myself, but to me, it is the best film that Pixar has ever done. Ladies and gentlemen, my number 1 is Toy Story 3.
Oh shit, ladies and gentlemen, that's a twofer right there. We have 2 in the same spot. Now, this is really interesting because Brian is you're 8 years younger, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, Brian was non-existent by the time the first one came out. I was 5 years old, so I was like the same age as Andy. So when the second one came out, I was 9, and Andy, I think, was around the same age. When Toy Story 3 came out, I was 20. I was 2 years after high school, so I was in that sweet spot where I grew up with Andy, and I was literally the same age as him, and that's why it impacted me more. So before we get into our reviews of the movie, why did you pick this one over the first 2, even though you were a lot younger when Toy Story 3 came out and stuff, and Andy was older and stuff? So why did you go with number 3 before we get into the reviews?
Well, the thing for me is that I think it's the best one with tone. Like, it's so dramatic. Like, it balances the drama so incredibly well. Like, the other 2, they have their fair share of drama, but this is definitely the more dramatic of them all. Like you said, probably because Andy's growing up and stuff, and he's leaving for college. And, like, I leave for college in 3 months. So, I mean, like, that's going to be something crazy for me. So, like, it's a little different for me. But to be quite honest, I think that's why, because of the emotional core attached to the film. I think that's why I picked it over the first one, because that was originally my pick. Because the first one, and I will go on a limb by saying this, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, the first one is my favorite anime film ever made, period. I've seen that film more than any other anime film ever. But the reason why I'm going with the third one is because, to me, it's the best film that Pixar's ever done.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I totally agree, and I'll kick it off, man, because I'm gonna get emotional while talking about it. It's just it's that powerful of a movie. But not only is it a great sequel, it's a great trilogy. Like, this is one of the best trilogies ever conceived. Like, the first one was fun, it's playful, it's got a little bit of emotion. The second one upped its game with the emotion. Everyone remembers that fucking scene with Jesse and how it just tore your heart out. And then we get to the third one, and it's like an adventure inside of a movie, like a separate adventure that you would never even expect. The toys are being taken off to the daycare, and Lotso the bear, he's basically toying with them, and Buzz Lightyear, is like a Spanish assassin now and stuff. And at the same time, these toys want to get back to Andy and stuff, and then the movie just kind of like ends very perfectly and whatnot, with Andy saying goodbye to his toys. And you sit there. I sat there as a 20-year-old, and I was like, holy shit. I had to do this. Like, I had to move out of the house. I had to go to college. I had to give up. I mean, I don't give up toys, but like, I'm pretty nerdy in my own right. I got a bunch of movies and posters and shit. But as far as like toys go, like, I remember playing with toys. I remember after seeing the first Toy Story when I was 5, I always thought, like, if I left my toys out on my floor, I'd close my door and be like, man, I wonder if I come home if these toys like got up and like had a gangbang in the middle of the floor and like, you know, just like did a bunch of shit while I was gone. And of course I would like open up the door and be like, did you guys move or whatever? Did you guys fucking talk? And so I thought the third one was just a nice bow on top of everything that the Toy Story franchise has done. Now, regarding the fourth one, I'm actually okay with, but as far as the trilogy goes, just the first three, it's just a perfect story about a kid growing up, with these toys having their own little adventures, and Andy having to move on, and these toys having to go on to a different owner. And it was just really heartfelt, and the emotion was there, and you cannot fucking sit there and tell me that you didn't cry when they were all holding hands in the incinerator about to be burned alive. We all fucking cried at that moment. I did. I remember sitting in the theater at 20. I was like, I'm getting a little misty out here. Don't fucking look at me. But no, that scene was very powerful because that was like, I thought that was the end of the road for them. I was like, these characters I grew up with are about to die. So yeah, I thought just the humor worked. It was really, I thought it was a lot funnier than the first two. And like I said, the emotion is just super powerful. All the characters are there. And if Inside Out doesn't have the best voice casting, then Toy Story does. Because who would have thought that Tom Hanks and Tim Allen would have the best chemistry as an animated duo in history? Woody and Buzz. Everyone fucking remembers that. They're the glue to the entire franchise. They're the ones that drive it forward. It is them two. They are the ones that really propel the whole franchise. And I can't wait to see what they do in 4 and stuff. But as far as the third one goes, it's a thrill ride. It's an emotional ride. It's a funny ride. There's a lot of things working with it. And the animation is very crisp. It's very clear. The colors are so vibrant. They're so colorful and rich. I always love Pixar movies because I feel like I would just want to dive into their world and just kind of play around a little bit. And because if you watch the first Toy Story, it was the first CG animated movie ever. And if you rewatch the first one, the animation's kind of shitty a little bit. Not gonna lie, it's a little blocky and stuff, but they found their footing and stuff. And I mean, but can you blame them though? It was 1995. But as far as the third one goes, perfect end to a perfect trilogy. It's just something that if you grew up with it, it'll hit you harder. And that's why for me it is always and forever will be my favorite one. Because here's the deal. Inside Out, when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, that was my favorite one. But when I sit down and think about it, Toy Story 3, no other movie from Pixar is ever going to accomplish that emotional journey from the first one to the third one like it did with that one. So that's why for me, Toy Story 3 is my number one favorite Pixar film. Brian, take it away.
You pretty much said everything I was going to say. I mean, the emotional impact. I've said this. I said this on our 3 Cool Films episode. I said that I saw this film I think 5 times in the theater. I saw it with my family. I saw it with my friends. I remember it was it came out the last week of 6th grade. I went with my friends. We went right after school. We got a half day, and we went at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We got dropped off by one of her friend's parents, and God. Yeah, it was great. And then we were all crying and stuff, and we were all just you know what? Let's go to fucking Applebee's and just eat a lot of appetizers and just make sure we can all be happy. That's literally what we did after the movie. It was a great day. I remember that. But yeah, Toy Story 3 is wow. I don't know what to say. It's really what can you not say about Toy Story 3 that hasn't already been said? It is the best animated film that has come out this decade so far, sequel-wise. But really, if Inside Out did not come out, Toy Story 3 would take that spot. Yeah, I agree with you. No one ever expected Tom Hanks and Tim Allen to be an excellent comedic animation duo, because Tom Hanks, when the first one came out, he just came off his 2 Oscar wins in a row for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump. He did this. Tim Allen was on Home Improvement, which was the #1 show on television, and no one expected these two to be in the film together, and yet they nailed it. they were like kittens together. Then the sequel came out. I love the second one as well. Yes, the Jesse sequence. Oh my god, now I'm gonna cry. Fuck. And now the third one, I mean, I agree with you. It is, I think, funnier than the first two. Probably because of most of the stuff with Potato Head, because he has more screen time on this than he does in the first two.
Yep.
Yeah, the Spanish Buzz. Michael fucking Keaton nailed it. Just
Yep, he was hilarious.
I love it. And I mean, yeah, the fucking baby. That fucking horrific baby.
Oh yeah. The one like crawling around the play yard, like looking like a fucking horror movie. I was like, geez.
Yeah, like Woody and I think it was Woody and Slinky that were outside, and then all of a sudden the baby was on the fucking swing, and then the dramatic music like played as they panned up.
The head just like, I was like, this is a G-rated movie, Pixar. Like, listen, that's another thing, just real fast. Finding Dory is PG. But Toy Story 3 with an incinerator scene and that horrific playground scene was rated G. MPAA. What the fuck you doing, yo? Like, who's paying you off? Ridiculous.
Finding Dory didn't have anything dark, and this spoiler, and this one had so much fucking dark shit, and it's like, what? Like, how is this not PG? I guess they were afraid to make it PG.
What they made up PG the year before, like
yeah, but look at all their other sequels. Monsters University wasn't PG. Cars 2 was not PG. Finding Dory is now PG. I'm sure if Toy Story 4 has something in it, I'm sure it has to be PG because now every Pixar movie is rated PG.
Well, the thing is with like that is if they were worried about slapping a film with a PG rating while the other two were G, look at Finding Dory. The first one, Finding Nemo, was G, and the second one's PG. So if they wanted to make that jump, they should have done, because I'm not joking. Like, I was sitting there as a 20-year-old going, there's some dark shit in this movie. I don't know how they got away with this. So, yeah, I mean,
yeah, and then the incinerator scene.
That fucking scene, man. Let's all
listen. I don't want to say anything, and everyone has seen the movie by now.
Hopefully,
I thought they were gonna die. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought they were gonna die.
No, seriously, I thought they were gonna die, and I thought the last shot was gonna be Andy like packing up his stuff, closing the trunk door in the car, looking at his house one more time, imagining his toys. Like him playing with his toys in the windowsill, and then he gets in the car and rides off to college. Like, can you imagine?
That would have been too much.
Can you imagine that fucking balls ending that Pixar would have thrown at us? I would have been like, Pixar, you're showing your gonads all over the table. I love it. Like, that would have been an amazing ending. But
my god. Yeah, and the way it ends is perfect. Like you said, he's playing with the little girl that he gives his toys to, and then he drives off. And the thing that really got to me about that ending, I mean, everything did, but like one thing that really particularly got to me was that when he waved to the girl, and then the girl grabbed Woody's hand, and he waved, and you just
stop that.
Like, fuck.
I don't want to cry on camera for the first time, Brian. You fucking stop, Bing Bong, fucking Bing Bong. Anyway,
no. So on, partner. That's the end.
I watched the movie today, and Bing Bong's just waving as he floats away like a fart in the wind. I was like, oh, Bing Bong. Oh, fuck me. Bing Bong, no.
Okay, that sounded wrong, but
that's what it did.
Yeah. So on partner.
No, yeah, Toy Story 3, that ending is ridiculous. Andy just drives away, and the little girl has the toys now. I'm just like, Andy's all good.
And Woody just says, so on, partner. Then that's it.
Yep.
That's it. It ends. Listen, I'm excited for the fourth one. I'm excited to see where they're going to go, but I don't want a fourth one.
I know.
I love the way this trilogy ended. I loved it.
And that's what's weird about it is, like, you know, the fourth one was so perfect. Like, I don't want to see a fourth one, but I don't think Pixar is going to just shit all over it. Like, they're going to take care of their stuff. And I really think that they're going to take the story that they have with number 4, whether it be a romance thing between Bo Peep and Woody or whatever the fuck they're going to do.
Which I'm a little confused by because Bo Peep is gone. She's gone.
But what if it's a movie about Woody trying to find her? To go back to the little girl or whatever. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's going to work because it's Pixar. I trust them. Right. Number 3, perfect little bow. And so, with that being said, guys, perfect little bow indeed. here's our list for this week. We actually have all the same ones except Brian put Ratatouille about a rat fucking cooking, and I put Monsters Inc. about monsters scaring the shit out of children. So apparently that's our difference. So, but yeah, all these ones I recommend and stuff. But hey, Pixar's got a lot of great ones in the lineup, and that's what we're going to get to right now with some honorable mentions. I'll go first with this one. Toy Story 2, obviously. Toy Story, obviously. And I will defend A Bug's Life. Now, I realize that A Bug's Life and Ants came out in the same year, and fucking Ants, man. Woody Allen playing an ant and Sylvester Stallone playing a buffer ant is the best thing in the world. Because if you watch Ants, Woody Allen's like a scared little chicken, like the way he sounds in his voice, and the fact he's playing an ant, it works. It's hilarious. So, but A Bug's Life is a lot of fun, so I like both of them. I like the first Cars is fine. I'm not a huge fan of Larry the Cable Guy, so when his voice comes out of that fucking tow truck, I just want to like do with the screen. But other than that, Ratatouille, of course, Finding Nemo, Monsters U. I love that movie. Actually, I think Monsters U is a very good prequel. And I never saw Brave. Brave was the only one I haven't seen yet, and I really don't want to see it. So those are my honorable mentions. Brian, what about you?
Okay, I will give a shout out to The Bug's Life. I don't love it. I like it a lot, but I don't love it. Monsters Incorporated, Finding Nemo. I'm probably going by year right now. I don't love WALL-E. I don't know why I don't love it. I don't know why I didn't love it when I was younger. I feel like maybe if I watch it again, I'll appreciate it more. But I will reconsider watching it again. Obviously, the first two Toy Stories. What else came out? Monster University. I really enjoyed that one. And yeah, if you guys want to see my review of Finding Dory, I liked it. That's an honorable mention as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot since we both seen it. I'll consider Finding Dory an honorable mention. I also forgot to mention WALL-E. I don't know why people shit all over that movie. I like the fact that like the first half is like a really cool like silent film, seeing the destruction.
I wanted it to be the silent film from beginning to end. That's what I wanted personally,
and that would have been fine. But I'm okay with them shooting up into space and seeing the fat lard asses that we've become as humans, and because you have to have that message in there. Like, look at what we're becoming as a species. We're becoming fat shits, and we're like destroying our planet. So you needed that segment. However, I'm on your side. If it would have been nothing but a silent movie of WALL-E cleaning up trash on Earth and him and Eva like falling in love, that would have been cool. That would have been really ballsy on Pixar's part, and I would have been totally okay with that. So, that's it for honorable mentions. All right. Dishonorable mentions, I'm just going to start this one off. Cars 2. Didn't need it. Incredibles 2 should have been in that slot. Now, the second one. I'm going to dishonorable mention. Now, when I did my review of it, I said it was okay. But the more I think about it, the more forgettable it is. The Good Dinosaur. I gotta fucking say it. Now listen, I said it in my review many, many times. The environments are photorealistic, and it looks like it was shot in those environments. So I'll give Pixar that. The animation, environment-wise, is beautiful. The dinosaurs look like shit. They look like Sour Patch Kids. Like, you're gonna fucking tell me you're gonna have this environmental, like, photogenic, like, setup, but then you're gonna have these, like, gummy-looking dinosaurs, like, bouncing on the grass. It makes no sense, like, aesthetic-wise when you're watching the movie. And the story overall is very blah. It's mediocre, and it takes a bunch of weird turns and stuff, and then it gets back on track, and it's like, people really need those fucking segments in the movie and stuff. So the more I think about it, the more I don't really like it. The Good Dinosaur, I realize people love it and they consider it like a Western for kids. I mean, that's fucking glorious and everything. But for me personally, very forgettable. I just walked out there going, this was the follow-up to Inside Out. Inside Out is superior to this. I mean, the environment, animation, breathtaking. Everything else, no. So those are my dishonorable mentions. Brian, I know Cars 2 is on your list. You don't have to talk about it, but are you going to put The Good Dinosaur on this list?
I was on your episode when you reviewed this. I didn't really care for it that much either. I mean, I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine the first time I saw it, but then I thought about it over time, and I'm like, yeah, this was a big letdown. Well, the thing is, there was so much production problems that went on during this movie, so that's probably why the film wasn't as well executed as it could have been. It was a cool idea. What would happen if the dinosaurs would not exist? It's an amazing idea, but it wasn't well executed. And I thought that movie would also kind of be a silent film with some dialogue, not too much, but like the dialogue I just didn't care for, and I was just
fucking
like,
dinosaurs were talking a mile a minute. They're like, "Oh, how you doing over there?"
The only thing I liked about the movie, well, animation wise, was fucking Sam Elliott's fucking T-Rex. I thought that was the greatest fucking casting I've ever seen in any film ever. There was this amazing silhouette shot at one point with the sun going down in the background. The dinosaurs were running. I don't know if it was Sam Elliott's character that was running, but you saw this T-Rex running. His hands were like this, and he was running like a little pussy, and it was honestly like the hilarious fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's funny because like he's a giant T-Rex, and so like when they're sitting around the campfire, he plops his like large T-Rex ass down. He's like, "Let me tell you a story, kid." It's just like,
yeah, and then another design I'm watching, Brave. I do not like Brave. I don't like. I get it that it started off perfectly. The first half hour of this movie is amazing. I was like, oh my god, this film is going to be perfect. I'm not going to hate this. And then the whole mother-daughter storyline happens, and I'm just like, no. The three curly-haired little brothers who look like me when I was 5 years old, they were the scene stealers of the entire fucking movie. Because at one point, they turn into bears. This isn't a spoiler. And then this fucking
I don't want to watch it. It sounds stupid.
And then this fat lady, like, runs, and she's like, ugh! Like, it's like the funniest fucking shit ever. I'm like, okay, that's
exactly why I don't want to see it. With you saying it's terrible, that gives me even more reason not to touch it.
I don't think it's terrible, but I think it's overrated. That's what I think. It should not have won Best Animated Feature. A lot of us film people agree that it should not have won. Wreck-It Ralph should have fucking won. Anything should have been Brave. Frankie Weenie, Paranorman, and that pirate movie.
Those were
Wreck-It Ralph.
Those were all fucking better than it. I was sitting there watching the Oscars, and I was like, Wreck-It Ralph was such a genius movie. That was like one of the best animated films I've ever seen in my life. I loved it from start to finish. It was so much fun. And they give it to Brave. And I was like, you could have given it to Frankenweenie, which was really great. You could have given it to Paranorman, which was really great. And even the fucking Pirates like stop motion movie was really fun. But you gave it to Brave. And I didn't even see a movie. And I got enraged by it because I was like, Wreck-It fucking Ralph was so delicious. And you gave
everyone says the exact same thing that you are saying. Like, everyone agrees that Wreck-It Ralph should have won. It should have won, but then again, I think they decided to say, oh, we're sorry for not giving it to the Disney film, so then we're going to give it to Frozen next year. Well, then again, there wasn't a Pixar film nominated. Monster U was not nominated, which shocked me, but then again, whatever. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I just want to quickly bring up, this isn't going to be about the shorts or anything, but like the shorts, for the most part, they're really great. The short that plays before Finding Dory is the most fucking adorable thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
It's cute. I was watching and I was like, it's fucking adorable. I loved it. And once again, it shows what Pixar can do animation-wise. Like, the environments. Like, I think Brian knows what I'm talking about when, because it's about a little bird. And when the little bird was, like, stepping in the sand, you could see each individual grain. I was like,
I know.
So gorgeous. Like, so I'm glad that they're getting better, like, programs and they're upgrading and stuff to make everything they do realistic now. Yeah, it was super adorable. I was like, Pixar, look at you. And I was one of the few people that really liked the one in front of Inside Out. I love the lava one.
Oh, Lava was great. Yeah, however, the short that played before The Good Dinosaur was fucking horrible, and that one got nominated for the Oscar. Fuck that Sanjay 14. Fuck that shit.
It was so generic. I was like, oh, Pixar, what are we doing, buddy? So yeah, no, the one in front of Finding Dory was very, very adorable. But yeah, most of the shorts are fantastic. I still remember the first one. I remember was in front of A Bug's Life, and it was the one, the old man Gerald. He was playing like, what was it, chess in the park or whatever.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that one was really good. And if you guys are really curious on the shorts, Netflix actually has both volumes on there right now for streaming. Check them out. I think you'll really enjoy them because I really do. I think my favorite one to date is Feast, the one that played in front of Wreck-It Ralph.
Feast played before Big Hero 6.
Yeah, you're right, because in front of Wreck-It Ralph was the really cool like 3D black and white color mix.
Paperman.
No, what was
Wait, Paperman, right?
No. What was, because you remember the one that was Mickey Mouse and he was the black and white.
Oh, that was before Frozen. Let's Get a Horse.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, that one and Feast are my favorite ones for sure. Yeah, if you want to check out the shorts, check them out there on Netflix right now. So that will do it for this week's episode, guys. Before we get into next week's topic, what do you guys think? What is your favorite Pixar film? What is your least favorite? Comment in the place from my face and let me know. And let's move on to next week. Brian, what are we doing next week?
Next week, in honor of Independence Day resurgence, we are going to honor our top 5 sci-fi sequels.
Oh shit, it's gonna be fun, y'all. Yeah, we haven't talked about sci-fi in a long time. I don't remember the last time we talked. Maybe did we do like a space movies episode or something like that?
Yeah, for The Force Awakens.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we haven't talked about it in several months. So sci-fi sequels, that's very specific. So it's gonna be really interesting to see where Aliens is on there and Terminator 2 is on there. So I mean, it's you never. It's gonna be an interesting list. So yeah, I'm really excited to do next week's sci-fi sequels, baby. Let's fucking do it. So let's wrap this up, guys. So Brian, I want to thank you for coming on once again, and I want to thank you for the 52 episodes that we've shared together. These are our 52 children all over the internet. Where can the people find you online?
Twitter at BrianSuts98 and on YouTube at Brian Sutfield.
Awesome. If you guys want to follow me, it's at Real Chase right here at the bottom. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Get updates when we do these things live. If you want to follow on Spreaker and do the audio-only version, follow that shit. And, yeah, signing off for the 52nd episode. Guys, I didn't really think this was going to go along very far. I created this show when I was single, alone, and I had no idea what to do on my Saturday nights. And then, of course, Brian joins along, and now we create this little baby that we call Top 5 Saturdays Live, and we have it every single week. We've never disappointed. We've never missed a week. Even when we go out of town, we record early, and we still give it to you guys because the very small people that watch this show, we thank you quite a bit. You guys are fucking awesome. And to in the episode, if you're watching on YouTube and you want an audio-only version of the podcast, link will be in the description below. And if you're listening on Spreaker and you want a video version, link will be in the description below. I'm Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, the intro and outro music is done by my friends band Fervent Roze. Check them out. Link in the description below as well. We'll see you guys next week. Let's make another year happen. 1 year anniversary, baby. Top 5 Saturdays Live. You guys are fucking awesome. Peace out. We'll see you next week. Play the music. Oh, man. Pixar. Fucking love those guys. All right. We'll see you guys next week.